today's web episode, we are going to talk about window tracks. As I knew that I was going to have to deal with, this gearing mechanism was going to get in my way. This gearing mechanism is the primary gear that lifts up the window. Now this is done through a set of what's known as scissor tracks. Here you can see the scissor tracks. This arm here goes to a stationary slide track right here. This allows this mechanism to slide forward and backwards here as the main track, this one here, which is actually directly attached to the gear over here, then causes this to scissor this direction and down at the bottom the opposite direction that way. And so as the mechanism goes upward in the door, the scissor track actually comes up and then goes flat and then scissors back up in this direction to completely raise the window. Now the problem that I'm going to run into is that I want to make it so that, as you can see here, I've already done this, this mechanism is flat with this right here. Now originally, in the driver's door right now, which I still have to modify, the mechanism is a good 3/4 of an inch, almost an inch over in this direction. Now that places the gear directly in the path of my motor, and I can't have it there. My motor's edge, max outside edge of the motor, is going to be right in this neighborhood. Now the good thing is the motor tapers, and so that taper will actually give me the rest of my room that I need to do this. So what I'm going to need to do, like I said earlier, was I need to move this all this way. First thing I had to do was I had to basically unscrew all the mechanism, except for down here. I didn't bother with anything down here in terms of screwing. The first thing I had to do is I unscrewed all 4 of the screws that actually hold the whole motor assembly on. Then I've gone ahead through a series of screws, a series of drill points. I went and moved the mechanism first back about 1/2 inch and then another 1/2 inch. And this way I could find out what my maximum would be on this track, because the problem I'm going to run into with this is that this is the actual mount that holds the track to the window itself. Now this is put on with like a butadiene type rubber or something of that format, so it's an adhesive basically. Now I don't want to go in and have to remove this adhesive. I can do that with the chemicals I have, but I'm going to try to do this without doing that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I had to figure out how far this track would move and how much more distance I could actually slide it in this direction. Because as it goes up, the problem is when it gets to the middle point here, at the same point as this track is, its maximum distance in this direction will be achieved. So I have to find out where I could go. Well, I found out very quickly that the mechanism stopped about right here, which gave me about 1 inch slide that I would need. But because it has a series on the top and the bottom here of stops, what they did was they just simply rolled the metal over. I needed to actually bend these tabs back. Now that's not going to cause any problems with the window mechanism at all, because it actually will still stop if it slams into the bolt here, but it actually won't. It'll actually just come to the very edge of it and stop when it reaches its maximum point here. Here on the top one, I also had to move this track over just slightly so that I would not interfere with any movement of the track. Once everything was moved, I tested the window, check it up and down and stuff. And one of the tests you want to look at is you want to see if the area where the motor is moves or twists inside the door. If it does, that usually indicates you've got something pinching or something is no longer level or something inside. So you're going to have to check all that to make sure. But you just want to make sure that this window doesn't twist or tweak back and forth. Other than that, that was all that was done. It was a relatively easy job to do.